Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Sunday, 26th day of June, which is the 20th day of Sivan. Here we go. Just a couple of more laws that apply in and around meals and how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. You know, in the Gemara's time, it used to be expected that you would leave some food over on your plate at the end of the meal, and the reason is something that was going to surprise you, but that's because there was often a waiter who was serving the people at the table, and he didn't really have enough food to eat for himself, so you would leave over like one meatball on your plate or one extra piece of kugel, and it would be understood that as the waiter would clear that away, it would be available for him to eat, because it was kind of like your donation, your tip to the waiter was one meatball that you left on your plate. So it was really, truly, no joking around, the custom to make certain to leave over some food on your plate, so it would be like the tip to the waiter, just the way like we today maybe give an extra tip to our barber after he does our haircut and we pay him, we just give him a little more. So the Gemara said that that was the proper custom. Of course, it doesn't really apply today, even if you do have a waiter serving at your Shabbos meal for all your guests, and he's not really expecting that in our day and age, so it wouldn't be appropriate for that. But the only way that it, in a small way, applies to us today is that we try not to finish all the way to the bottom of our plate and lick it totally clean, because when we lick our plate totally clean, what we're actually doing is we're acting gluttonous. You look at the plate and it's been licked clean, the way a dog licks his bowl at the end of his meal, and we try not to do that. It's not considered appropriate. But, by the way, interestingly, to finish down to the bottom of your plate on Shabbos or Yontif is considered acceptable because we have that extra mitzvah of Oneg Shabbos, Oneg Yontif, and supposed to eat heartily, and therefore eating right down to the bottom of your plate on Shabbos and Yontif is acceptable. While we're on those laws, I want to tell you that there are some rabbis who say that you should always be slicing the challah in slices to give to people, and to just tear pieces of the challah to give to people in torn pieces is considered not appropriate. Which leads to the very interesting question. I won't have an answer for you, but you know, they now make these challahs that are a bunch of rolls all baked together, and they call them like breakaways or tearaways, and you tear away your little roll of challah. So what do you think we would say to that today? Is that called tearing away the challah, or as I break away each little piece that is its own intact roll, I pass it on to a person, really giving him a roll? I'm just tearing it away from the roll of how they're all stuck together. You might want to speak to your rabbi about that. I bet most rabbis are going to believe that it's okay to do it on those rolls because they're called breakaways. They're meant to break away. But I don't know, all rabbis are going to have different opinions. Drinking straight out of the bottle is considered inappropriate by Gemara standards, as you might have expected. However, the sports bottles that we have today, which are made to be personal sipping bottles, if you want to sip from a sports bottle, most rabbis would consider that totally okay today. Then lastly, there is that bracha that we say in the middle of benching. Some do and some don't. It's a special bracha put in the middle of benching. It was quoted all the way back to the time of the Gemara. And basically it would say that I want to give a special blessing to the host of this meal. And sometimes some would have the leader of benching recite it on behalf of everybody wishing well to the Baal Habayis, the one who has given them the meal. There are rabbis who today say that it's not really an obligation anymore to do that. It's a nice idea, certainly a good idea to do it, but it's not really treated by most rabbis as an out-and-out obligation that you, the guest, have to say that special guest's prayer for the chazan. You could see it for the owner of the meal. You can find it in your bencher, and you could decide yourself. Most rabbis are saying that it's certainly a good idea, but not a full-fledged obligation that you have to say it. Do you have to say it when you're at your parents' house? You know, you're grown up with a family, or it's your in-laws, and do you have to say that special bracha for the owner of the meal when he's your father-in-law or your father? So, you know, different rabbis have different opinions on that. And lastly, you know, on Shabbos we don't pray for our special requests. We don't really say the Rifa'enu bracha, like please heal my bubby. Or even when we make a mishaberach for a cholo, we say Shabbos hi milizok. It's Shabbos and we're not really crying out in prayer. So some people say, hey, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that prayer for the owner of this meal who fed me. That's listed in benching because that's like a personal prayer on Shabbos. So you can rest assured that the rabbis don't view it as a personal prayer. It's not being said in that vein. It's just wishing well to the person who fed me, and that's certainly an acceptable thing to do. So it's to sum up that thing, that special bracha that's listed in benching where the guest says it for the host, it's not considered by all rabbis today to be an out-and-out strict obligation, but it's certainly a very nice thing to do. The leader of benching can say it. Some rabbis say that that even other people who were at the meal can say it. You might want to speak to your rabbi and ask him how he feels as to whether you should be saying that special blessing all the time when you eat as a guest at someone's house. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.